previously it was known as Radio RSA or Radio South Africa. The channel turns 50 this year, Channel Africa. The station's mission is to provide programming that informs, educates, entertains, and empowers African citizens. Under the leadership of the current General Manager Solly Phetoe, Channel Africa has taken a different direction to be more relevant in the news biz. He joins us now in studio to take us through their 50-year journey. A very good morning to you, Mr. Phetoe, and welcome.
Okay, good morning, Elvis, and good morning to our viewers.
Half a century. That's a very long time, and I'm sure it must have been quite an exciting period to get to where you are now. What activities have you got planned?
We have a number of activities planned. Actually, at the beginning of this month, that is May, we started first with our programming, whereby on air, we have been carrying a number of stories, a number of some of our programs that we regard as high-profile programs that were broadcast just in the 90s or before 1990. But to move on, the 21st of May up to the 28th, we have declared that the Africa Celebrate Week. We'll be working with Africa Diaspora Forum that is based in Yeovil, whereby we'll be having a number of activities. But one of the things that we want to emphasize or we want to push during that week is also to try and bring unity among Africans. You remember that South Africa unfortunately experienced xenophobia some years back. Yes. And we are saying that this is a time for us now to work towards building, bringing together all those nationalities. If you go to Yeovil, Yeovil is your United Africa area. You know, you've got all the African nationals there. So that is why we decided to choose that area. But on the 28th, as Channel Africa then will be having our own celebration, where we will also have other radio stations that will be co-broadcasting with us. You know, stations in the DRC, stations in Malawi, and stations in Zambia. We thought we must just confine ourselves to Southern Africa for now because of some technical problems in the continent.
Now, I want you to take us back in history. What challenges did the station face when you started off in terms of getting these two stations together to combine it as one?
Listen, remember, there's this pre-94 period when this station was actually a station used by the then South African apartheid government to try and counter any positive messages that were coming about liberation, about freedom. But post-94, the management at the time then decided that no, it's the time for us to take this station into a different direction. The station that will now start telling us the African story to Africans. Yes, we had some challenges. Challenges, even now, is that sometimes we find that recruiting people from outside the continent, because we broadcast in 6 languages, which is English, Portuguese, Silozi, Chinyanja, Kiswahili, which is one of the most spoken languages in the continent, and French. And then we don't have that people with the expertise of that language in the country. So sometimes we find that we have to go and look or recruit people from outside. And remember, the other thing that we do is that we do not want to encourage a situation where we have these people staying for a long period in the country. So after a certain period, then you need to go and look for new talent. New talent that you can use for your broadcast.
Now, why the name Channel Africa?
Channel Africa is basically, we are saying that this is your platform. This is your station. And it's not only Channel Africa. It's Channel Africa, the voice of the African Renaissance. Yeah,
that's a payoff line.
So that's a payoff line, where we're saying that, this is the station that is going to give you stories from the African perspective. This is a station that's going to cover stories, whether bad or good. Because, in the past, we used to, these international broadcasters coming to Africa only for disasters, only for coups. But we are saying that there are also positive stories that you can tell about the African. There are developmental stories that are there in Africa. AU, for instance, has launched Agenda 2063. How many times do you hear about Agenda 2063? What project are they now being launched in as far as Agenda 26 is concerned? Very few information is coming out of there. Then we are saying Channel Africa. This is the role that we need to play. We are also taking into consideration that Africa is still very rural.
Yes.
If you look at our listenership, we still reach those masses in rural areas. Hence, we feel that we need to empower those people. And hence, we are now, we have been working with the AU. We've been working with SADC. We've been working with SABA, which is Southern African Broadcast Association. These are the bodies that we try to work with in terms of reflecting that thing, this African story. But on top of that, we have correspondents all over the continent to try and bring stories from those areas.
So it's an African good news story to tell that nobody really tells sometimes, and you're so correct in that. But looking to the future, do you still see a role for Channel Africa and where we're going in terms of the current broadcasting landscape?
There is a bright future for Channel Africa. First, whether we like it or not, Europe is saturated in as far as development is concerned. That is why now you see a plethora or the emergence of a number of international broadcasters. I mean, you've got your CCTVs, okay, BBCs and others have been there for a long time, but recently you have seen Al Jazeera, you have seen now Euronews, which has just opened offices in Congo, Brazzaville. Now, these are the broadcasters that have realized that it's important for everyone to go for Africa because that's where developmental opportunities lie. So we as Channel Africa are saying that this is now the time for us to tell the story about those developmental projects. And really, I feel that we have an opportunity.
Mr. Solly Phetoe, thank you so much, and good luck with the celebrations.
You're welcome.
That's the General Manager of Channel Africa in studio, Mr. Solly Phetoe. It's now over to Eben for more on the celebrations of Africa's biggest channel, I think, Channel Africa.